just going to do a bit of cleaning on the engine before I start replacing the coil packs and the spark plugs and so on. Up here you can see quite a bit of oil here. I think it's oil, or it might even be petrol with sort of dirt and stuff, I don't know, but it looks like oil. But it seems to be coming off, I don't know, somewhere in there. It's on that corrugated pipe there. I don't actually know what that pipe is, but it looks like there's some dripping off there. But it never makes it down to the bottom of the engine so that it drips onto the road, as it were. But it just, what it does is it makes this side of the engine pretty dirty, and it's obviously been there for quite some time because this whole bank is pretty dirty, pretty oily. So I really don't know what that is. I'd like to have some feedback on that if anybody knows. But I dare say whatever it is means dropping the engine out and replacing a gasket or something. But I'm going to clean it up. Tidying up these water pipes here, so I'm degreasing them, and when I was using the angle grinder I got a couple of scratches in them there, so I'm going to rub that down. There's one I need to fill here because it's quite deep. Maybe it's that one there. I think it's that one. Or was there another one? No, I think that was the worst one. So I'm going to clean these up and undercoat them and then top coat them with black. Okay, last thing I did today was to fill the holes, or not holes, but slight gouges that I've made with the angle grinder in these water pipes, and I've resprayed them. So I used black hammerite, black smooth hammerite, which you can't really see in this light, but it looks pretty good. So let those dry overnight and I'll be able to put those back on maybe tomorrow, I don't know, with the new hoses and the new clamps. Okay, so I've just been under the car, removed the part of the underbody panels, and I've removed these two water pipes here. I've got the new ones here, so I'm just cleaning up under there a little bit, and then I will refit them. So looking towards the front of the car, like in that way, the one on the right hand side is that one, and it's this part number, and then the one that goes on the left hand side, they're the connections are right next to each other. On the right hand side it was that one I just showed you. On the left hand side it's this part number here, which is this one. It's got this more accentuated hook. And just looking at the state of these pipes, bearing in mind they are original, even the clips are completely original. Some garages might call this porous, but there are certainly no splits in them. They probably could have lasted quite well had I not changed them out, to be honest, but I thought while I was doing this work anyway, I'd do it. So that one's in really good, actually in pretty good condition. Although it's just dirty, there's not much wrong with this one either. So they could have probably stayed in there, but well, actually, if you look at this, you can see it's really starting to go a bit hard. So the next step, I guess, over the next couple of years is it would have split. So it probably was the right time to do it. So here's one of the box of bits I've got in here. So those are, in there is the oil filter, various bolts for the exhaust brackets, and we've got gaskets for the exhaust, we've got the coil packs, and this is a whole bunch of fittings. We've got 4 like clamps for all the water hoses, different size clamps. So I'm just going to go through those. Here's the sports exhaust, the little clamp bits that hold on the air pipes, another water pipe here, more clamps, and so on. So I'm going to go through those now and find the right ones for the water pipes. In here as well is my set of exhaust brackets, which I've shown in another video. Okay, so just a quick update on the car. I have got all of the items or the issues done with the bolts down here. I've used the time cert to drill that in and get that done. I've cleaned up the engine a little bit. You can spend, God, ages doing it, which would be fantastic if I had the time, because it would look really lovely. But I've done as much as I can just to get the oil residue off that I had up there, and just to clean it up a little bit. So the next step is to, I've also fitted the new water pipes. I painted these. As you remember, you might remember I scuffed them up a little bit when I was using the angle grinder under here, but I sort of carefully filled each of the scratches and holes, or gouges I should say, and then rubbed them down and repainted them so they look really good. I've redone, I don't know if you can see it, but the water pipes up until that point there. Over here, you can see there, I discovered an oil leak, and that is very small, but it's seeping out onto the floor there. and that's through these, I guess these are oil cooler pipes here, and I checked along the bottom there and they've started to corrode on one side, so I dare say that's what's causing the leak. So I'll have to do that at some point, but I'm not going to do it now. Otherwise, I've done the rust spots along here all the way around, and I am ready to replace the coil packs and spark plugs. But before I do that, I am going to replace these brackets here, which go either side of the engine. I've painted those with a zinc spray here, but other than that, unfortunately, when I was replacing this main water hose down here on the left-hand side of the engine, I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if I cracked it, but there's a small bracket here which holds the metal part of that water cooling pipe to the side of the engine, and that unfortunately came away and I can't quite push it back in, so I think it might have been cracked. And also, very annoyingly, I cracked the oil filler neck, which is, oh, I don't know, a massive pain in the arse, because what you've got to do to get to that is take the alternator out, disconnect some of these items here because people say they're easy to break, and then go down behind and replace it. I've got one on order from Porsche. It's actually there. I've just got to go and pick it up and had no time. So it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but we are slowly getting there. What else? Yes, the thermostat. I've had an absolute nightmare getting that. It's taking a long time to come through the post. 2 weeks so far, and I spoke to them again today, and they said it will be left in a shop to pick up for me. So hopefully that happens. But I'm going away for the weekend, so it's tonight. I'm going to work on it, and then I'm back on it next week. So what I'm going to do today is the thing I just mentioned. I'm going to fit those, and it just works slowly to make things progress. Just taking out the old coil packs, and actually you can see there how much dirt has gathered on those coil packs. They don't look to be in too bad condition. I don't know if you can tell how old they are. Maybe you can from there. 14A15 it says there. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but I'll take them out anyway. Actually pretty stiff. There's the other one. Also very dirty as well. And there's the other one. As I said to you, there's some kind of an oil leak at the top of the engine here. I don't really notice the oil loss on the oil level, really. As I say, I don't do many miles, but it's not very noticeable. But obviously it's been up there for quite a long time, because you can see the whole side of that engine was a bit like that, sort of caked in dirt. The other side of the engine is absolutely fine, so something up here is leaking oil. But anyway, there are, I don't know if you can see them, there are the spark plugs, or the holes at least. Very important with this 3.6 litre engine is that they don't have the plastic tubes which go into these holes on the 3.4 litre engine. I actually bought those as well with this whole set, because when I was buying all the parts, the manufacturer didn't, well, or at least the supplier didn't tell me that they didn't need them. So I've spent a whole bunch of money that I needn't have done. So I'll probably have to put those on eBay to sell them again. But that's what they're looking like. You can't really see in there, but I'm going to take the spark plugs out now. But what I'll do before that is I'll give it a blast with the air, just so I'll make sure no mess goes in there. Okay, so I've just taken that first spark plug out, and if it would, let me see if I can get it to focus. I mean, it absolutely looks fine. Don't know if you can tell from spark plugs how old they are, can you? it's a Bosch spark plug, so it's a quality spark plug. 102, but I can't tell how old that is. I wouldn't know without looking into the service manual, but I'm going to take all those out and compare them in a sec. Okay, so I've got the new coil packs here. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether they have the new bolts in, because you can see here, I'm hoping they do, because you can see here, these ones are pretty rusted. So, they do, yeah, perfect. Okay, so they're slightly different though. You can see they're different heads, which doesn't bother me at all, but they are in the pack as well, so that's good news. Otherwise, just looking at these spark plugs here, this is cylinder number 6, the dreaded bore score one, but they are all burning perfectly, perfectly the same. As you can see, there's no oil on any of them, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And in fact, the spark plugs that I'm replacing are exactly the same as this, so that's not bad. The only thing I'm looking at here is, just seeing this, these are about 5 sizes far too long, so I don't know what's going on there. I have to double check. Maybe I don't know what's going on there. They're very long. I'm going to have to check whether they fit or not. Okay, so found the problem pretty quickly, or not the problem, but the difference. So Beru, this is all original manufacturer. They have produced these slightly differently actually. So these are much bigger than these ones. You can see that they're not, I think they're not heavier. Maybe they're the same weight, but the screw is longer because obviously it's got more plastic to go through. So that will have to go all the way through there, whereas before it just had to go through that short distance there. So that's why they're different. Okay, so I've done the driver's side, and now I'm going to go over to the passenger side and take out those coil packs and the spark plugs. Also pretty dusty, but not as oily as the other side, you can see that. But this one, you can see, where are we? That is knackered. That really caught the weather there from the back wheel. And that looks very old. Look at that, it's, oh, I can't get it in there. Very, very knackered. I didn't get any misfires or any problems with the engine, but that is knackered, that one. Just as well I'm cleaning it out now, changing it out now. Okay. I think I need to re-tap some of those holes as well. I think it's worth just doing that. So I think I'll do that now. Okay, so I'm just going to put in the first of all 6 coil packs. Just give them a quick brush off. Put them in there like that. I'm going to put some anti-seize on the new bolts here, and they say tighten them down to about 7 pounds-foot torque. But I haven't really got one of the low range torque wrenches, unfortunately, so I'm just gonna have to put them in as just as lightly as you think. I mean, 7 is very, very low, so obviously you don't need to really go mad on it. Just take it nice and easy. I'm just tightening those up there now like that. Probably do with your fingers, to be honest. You wouldn't want to go too much over that. Let me actually get the right size. Yeah, so just nip these up like that. There. Nip those up there. Really isn't much at all. And then go and do the same thing to all of the others. So the other thing I got is a whole bunch of these new clips as well. So wherever there is a cable attached to the engine, like this one for example, some of them have even sort of just completely rotted away, but I just thought I'd get all those renewed while I can. So this is actually the first one that I'm doing, and how they go on. So they go on like that. In fact, that's the only way it can go on like that. So let's push that in there without messing it up. There you go. In fact, what I might do is just put a bit of grease left and right on that. Probably won't do much, but might help look after the clip, because they do rust very quickly, I think. So let's get that back on there then. There we go, that's on. And now let's clean that cable off a little bit, and then you bend that out there and push that in there like that. So that's the first of many new clips. Okay, so back on the Porsche today. It is Monday evening. I've just come up after work just to do a couple of hours work. So I finally got my Borg-Warner low temperature thermostat through, which has been around the houses slightly. It's been a bit bashed up. 2 weeks it took it to get here. They had some kind of a problem with the delivery address, but it's here. It looks in pretty. I mean, it's a German manufacturer. I wonder here, because of this ground off element here, that perhaps it used to have a Porsche part number on there or something. I dare say this is exact same standard as Porsche install in their cars, or at least supply their clients. They just rebag it. But anyway, the important thing being, other than new, is that it is a 71-degree thermostat. Oh, and it was produced in April this year. So the idea of, I'm just going to try it out because I've seen on the forums that it's a, I don't know, a way of helping longevity of the engine and just keeping the temperature of the engine down by opening earlier. Therefore, it will keep start cooling the engine quicker. So we'll see how it works. So that will allow me to button up this section here. Oops. And then I will be able to put in some coolant. So that is the aim for today. So I've just cleaned up the flange on that thermostat housing, and now I'm retapping the, or sort of, you know, cleaning up the threads of the bolts that go in there. Okay, so the thermostat is in. I actually used a bit of seam sealant on there, just the blue stuff. Oops, there it is, gasket jointing, really, really thin. You're supposed to put them in dry, but actually the gasket was slightly battered from the rough ride it had getting to me. So I bent it very carefully with my fingers, bent it straight, but so I thought I'd better put some of the compound in there. Now I'm going to tighten the bolts up. I haven't got a low range torque wrench, so I'm just going to tighten them tight, but it's about 10 Newton meters. Okay, so we've also got the new heat shield for the passenger side, or the left-hand side of the car. I've had it for a while but never fitted it, so that's where it's going to go on there. Okay, that is the new heat shield for the coil packs fitted on the left-hand side. Okay, just an update before I leave the garage this evening. I have fitted the thermostat and the main water hose there. I had to take off that solid water pipe there to actually fit it through. So I've refitted that. Three bolts, 1, 2, 3 over there. That's also the ones I repainted. I've fitted the replacement exhaust brackets with new bolts at the bottom. I also painted the just the ends with zinc spray, and at the top as well, which you can't really see. The coil packs I did before, the spark plugs I did before. I put the heat shield on for the coil packs, and also the new little clips there. Whoops, one there and one up in there. And put the new clamp on there. I must admit I prefer these hose clamps, the proper hose clamps. I don't know why, but Porsche seem to have supplied me with a mix of these ones. In fact, that there's 2 of these ones that they supplied me with, and the rest were these, which are, I don't know, don't really like them very much, because they don't seem very, you know, they're just a bit basic. These sort of are more, I don't know what the word is, but you know, they're more, they sort of blend in more. A bit more slick is the word, a bit more slick, because otherwise, look, you've got these things. I don't know if you're supposed to cut these tails off or not. But anyway, that side's done as well, as you know. I've got the underbody trays back on as well. So essentially what I need to do now is I need to cut the bolts down from 30mm to 28 for the headers. I need to fit more of the little clips there. Those are the brackets which hold the O2 sensor cables. Got to put those on. I've got to put the main bracket on for the cats at the back, and then put the cats on. Then I put the silencers on, and rear bumper, back wheels. I don't know why it's not focusing. Back wheels, and then that'll be that part of the project done. And then I'm going to have to go and fit the. Oh, then I have to put the coolant in, bleed the car. I'm going to do the oil change, and then I'm going to take out the alternator so I can replace this oil neck. And then once that's done, we'll be able to take it for a drive. My plan was to get it done this week,
as it was to get it done last week. But the issue now is with work. I've been called to go to London for a new project, so that'll take a full day and a night of my time, so that means one evening less on the car, but we'll see how we get on. Today I'm going to go home now. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening, but I've had a good innings today, so I'm very pleased with what I've got done this afternoon.